Nikki, good to talk to you again. I'll start with this. Like, how did you get all these artists together for this song, Maybe It's Time?
Well, the song was written by me, James, and DJ and 6 a.m., destination to be for the Heroin Diaries musical. And then the idea was I wanted to get some super, super high-level pop and country artists to be on this song because when we were working with the musical, I wanted to elevate the conversation. That's what the whole musical is destined to be, is what Rent was for HIV, the Heroin Diaries will be for the opiate epidemic. And the coronavirus hit, as we all know, and everything stopped. So we had this song, and we still wanted to do something, but we didn't know what for. I mean, obviously, we want to do it for a reason. So tied into the Global Recovery Initiative Foundation, and to donate all the money from Maybe It's Time to that. And it was really easy. I called up Slash, and I said, hey, this is kind of this idea I want to do. I want to do kind of a bit of a blue-collar version of the song with some pretty powerful singers, and I'd love your guitar work on it. And Slash's like, yeah, fine. I go, do you want to hear it? And he goes, no, man. No, if this is important to you, it's important to me. And that's the kind of guy Slash is. And the conversations just kept going like that. I just called up people, and they were like, anything you need. And so then we put this together. A guy named Rob Cavallo produced the track. And I was in the middle of a move, sold my house in Los Angeles, moved to Wyoming. So it was kind of hard for me to be there. So having Rob there and James Michael from 6 a.m. there to really oversee these vocals and stuff was just fantastic. And everybody just did a great job. Like guys like Corey Taylor. Corey just called me up and goes, I heard through the grapevine, because like his tech knows Slash's tech, that you're doing this thing, and I want to do it. Like, it got to be that positive of a project.
You mentioned Corey from Slipknot. What's he like to hang out with? I mean, does he act the same with and without the mask on?
He's such a positive dude. He's a great dude. He's real. I really like artists that are real and that have like a lot of different layers to them, a lot of depth. One of my kind of complaints about where we're at musically in a lot of cases is it sounded a lot like bands are writing for radio. They're writing to be on a certain, like, hey, let's write a song that'll fit on the workout playlist. And they're starting to all use the same producers and the same sounds, and it's like this chord progression. There's a study out there that producers read that will tell you what a hit song is. And there's these different combinations of chords and where the minor and the major fit and this whole thing. And it's just not Led Zeppelin. It's not Aerosmith. It's not Metallica. It's not real. And I'm really proud of these artists that came up and wanted to work on this, because that's what they're doing with their careers. They're trying to add depth and dimension. They're talking about things that are not they're talking about things that are like statistically not popular sometimes too. Like this, like Maybe It's Time is not a conversation that people are openly willing to have about the opiate epidemic and solutions, because it's not a pretty dinner conversation. But I think that if more parents and more people and more families and more businesses were having these conversations, and by donating all the money to the Global Recovery Initiative Foundation, they can get the information there on where to get help. And the other thing people are just not really aware of is the reuse pattern on sobriety. So when people do come in and they get clean, and whatever the situation is, there's a million different scenarios. A lot of cases, like, they may make a week and then fall off the wagon and have a drink, or they may make a month. And I had a situation. I'm almost 20 years sober now, so it had to be, a long. Well, it was a long time. It was like a quarter century ago. But I was about 4 years sober, 3 or 4 years sober, and I slipped. I fell off the wagon, and I was really bummed and ashamed. But what I wanted was to figure out what I did wrong, how I could do it better, so I could live a life of sobriety and be able to be in the position I'm in right now in my life with, kids and a wife and, a career. And I got a lot of dirt thrown on me. A lot of people, what's wrong with you? I'm ashamed of you. You could do better. Don't you know what you're doing to your fans? Don't you? What about the record company? What about this? And I was like, nothing was about me. It wasn't about like, Nikki, here's a helping hand. So 6 a.m. really tackled some of these subjects in the past, and we wrote that song, Accidents Can Happen, about that. And about, it's not, it says, accidents can happen. It's only one day. It's not your whole life. Now, I'm not saying that people should be, getting clean and sober and then being, thinking that slipping and falling off the wagon is a good thing, because unfortunately a lot of people die that way. But anyway, back to the subject at hand. This is very important to me. There's real artists. It's a real song, real producer, a real initiative. I think is important, and I appreciate you taking your time to talk to me about it.
Every time you stream Maybe It's Time, or you watch the video, a contribution is made to help someone in recovery, which I think is fantastic. And a second ago you brought up that you like real bands who have a reason to get into it, like a central core reason to get into being a band. When you guys, because you co-founded Motley Crue, when you guys started, if you had to go back and assign a mission statement to that band, what would it be?
To that band or any band?
To that band. Like what were you guys about? Because you guys were as real as it could be. What was that about?
We don't care what you have to say because it doesn't matter to us. That was our whole point. People would try to talk to us about our music, and we're like, hands up. We don't want to hear it. I still don't want to hear it. I write music because I want to write about something that is pissing me off, making me happy, inspiring me, whatever it is. I don't want to write based on analytics and playlists. I don't want to write songs based on record companies telling me the number one selling album on their label is this, so now you guys should be this, or you should cut your hair like this, or maybe you should dress like... I hate it, dude. I just think artists need to be artists. And you go back historically, and the bands that are still here, or the bands that really made an impact, whether it was folk, pop, disco, rock, heavy metal, glam, Bowie, Elton John, Aerosmith, Queen, they were all expressing themselves as themselves, not as what somebody else wanted. And I think that I'm really proud about that. Whether you like Motley Crue or don't like Motley Crue, you can drop a needle anywhere on a record, if you have a record, and every ounce of what you're hearing was real. Every ounce of what you're hearing is real. As the band really cared, really played their own instrument. Nobody played the guitar parts on a keyboard. I remember this friend of mine went to a songwriting session, and he brought his guitar, and the producer says, "What's that?" And he goes, "Well, I brought my guitar because I might have some inversions to do with it." And he goes, we don't use guitars here anymore.
Wow.
I'm like, wow, man. Take me away. Take me away.
I watched The Dirt, really enjoyed it on Netflix. How did you feel about the way that you were portrayed in The Dirt?
I don't know. I asked my wife, I go, is that me? She goes, pretty much. So I don't know. It's a weird thing watching yourself. And also, I'm sick. I'm in my 60s, right? So a lot of that stuff isn't really applicable to me anymore. And I can watch it from the outside, but I don't have an ego. I don't believe in ego. I think ego is your downfall. So to me, the movie was entertainment for our fans and an opportunity to write some new music. But I wasn't like, I got a movie about myself or anything like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Just watching it, and again, really enjoyed it, and know you guys' story and know your story. Do you feel like, though, and you mentioned Metallica earlier, do you feel like that you guys inspired bands like Metallica later on?
Oh God, I'm not sure. I mean, I think one thing about us is we sort of just like doing our own thing. Oh, and I enjoy other bands, but I don't really I don't really look at like a camaraderie among bands. I kind of like Metallica's their band, Aerosmith's their band, Motley Crue's their. We're all our own individual things. So I'm not sure. I can tell you I was influenced by Aerosmith, though. I can tell you that. They were my Rolling Stones.
6 a.m. presents Artists for Recovery song called Maybe It's Time. It's helping raise money for the Global Recovery Initiative during National Recovery Month. It features Corey Taylor of Slipknot and Stone Sour, Joe Elliott, Brantley Gilbert, Ivan Moody, Slash, AWOL Nation, and Tommy Vex. So I encourage you guys to check it out. Every time you stream it or watch the video, it's actually helping someone with recovery. Appreciate you coming on, Nikki, and thanks for talking with me. Do you know that Motley Crue's #1 streaming song? You talk about streaming. Do you know what it is?
I don't.
What would you assume it would be?
I don't know. You know, the weirdest song in our catalog is this song "Kickstart My Heart," because I'd gotten clean and sober after Girls, 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 and was writing that album, writing the songs for the album. We were pretty much done with the record, and my manager came by my house, and I write most of my music on an acoustic guitar just because it's loud, and I just play really hard, and I don't even play guitar, so you can imagine what it sounds like. But he's like, what is that you're playing? And I go, oh, it's this song, kind of this punk rock song. And he goes, are you going to show it to the band? And I go, nah, it's just not really meant for Motley Crue. And he goes, well, you're going to show it to the band because I think that really would be a great song for your record. And I said, okay. So then he came by rehearsals, like the last day of rehearsal before we went to record the record. And he goes, you show the guys the song? And then Tommy goes, what song? And I go, nothing. And he goes, he has this song he won't show you guys. So Tommy goes, well, I want to hear it. And I was like, okay. So I kind of showed the part to Mick and to Tommy. And then Vince jumped. I handed him the lyrics, and we started doing it, and they were like, this song's great. But this goes to show you that song is maybe one of our biggest songs, but was never actually destined to be a Motley Crue song. Isn't that weird? So I don't know. Maybe that's one of the highest streaming ones. Your #1 streaming song of Motley Crue is Kickstart My Heart. That's it. Right. Yeah, look at you. Well, I appreciate that story. And everybody listening, check out Maybe It's Time. Nikki, it's great to talk to you. Thank you for the time, and hopefully I'll catch you soon. All right, man. Thanks. Have a good day, guys. Right, see you later. Hey, guys, it's Bobby Bones. Welcome to the channel. If you're new to the channel, subscribe and then go check it out. A lot of artists, a lot of songwriters, a lot of music. Welcome to the Bobby Cash channel.